5 midday trial, day 5 midday report. First thing I want to say is, so apparently today they have determined that it's probably not going to go all the way to the 31st because the prosecution should be done with their case sometimes mid-week next week. Apparently, the prosecution should be done with their case sometimes mid-week next week, apparently. That's one. Also, just so we can be clear before we get into any of this, I'm not talking about what everything that happened in court today. I'm just going to give you a pretty good update about what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to try to start the show earlier tonight than usual. Well, than we did the previous night, because I think last night we started almost like a 10 o'clock or some shit. I'm going to try to start the show off earlier because I actually do have a lot to speak about. And a lot of what I have to speak about actually has to do with the DNA evidence. There's a lot of DNA evidence that I want to explain not because it's kind of complicated, but it's not really that complicated. I don't think it's nothing that we can't understand that you guys won't be able to understand. Obviously, they had to put it in the type of sound bites for the jury to be able to understand. So we're going to be speaking about quite a lot of DNA evidence tonight, just so we can be clear. As soon as I get on the live, I told y'all, people get on the phone as soon as I get on the live all the time. It's like 100% of the time. Shout out to that shit, right? So there's going to be a lot of DNA evidence specifically that we're going to be talking about tonight. I just want to let y'all know, so make sure that y'all pull up. So today is day 5. There was a couple of, on the record, by the way, I don't tell y'all anything that's off of the record. If I'm in the courtroom, apparently, I know it's off the record, but I don't record that, nor do I come on here to try to tell y'all anything that's off of the record, because obviously that's not for public consumption. Shout out to Rue Jones, Daisy May, Eli, how y'all doing today? So there was a lot of back and forth actually before the individuals was brought into the, before anybody was brought into the courtroom. There was a lot of back and forth before the jury was brought into the courtroom. We had a couple of witnesses today so far. One of them was a DNA expert, and another one was an NYPD now detective. And so we're going to be going over that just so we can be clear. I'm just going to tell you about some of the things. So Casanova's name has come up again, and I'm not 100% sure why Casanova's name. Okay, I kind of think I understand. Somebody said something in the chat yesterday. I don't know if it's true or not, but somebody said something about in the chat about Casanova being something to deal with a whole entirely different shooting that encapsulates him inside of this case. But it might be something just so much more simple as a telephone call was made and a conversation was had. Now, they was discussing whether that conversation is going to be allowed to be brought into testimony today. And apparently the judge has ruled, just so we can be clear, the judge has ruled that I believe they're going to actually allow the testimony, but I think that that specific piece of evidence has more to deal with if the defense or if a certain individual, I'm not going to say their name, testifies or not. I think that if a certain individual testifies or not, I think that that's going to give them the need to use this specific information. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I am kind of sure. I just don't want to allude to it right now. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read about it later tonight. I'm going to tell you about it later tonight. But there are a couple of things that I want to tell you right now that's going on that I feel comfortable with speaking on, especially just in general. And Casanova is not going to be a witness in this case. I want people to stop thinking, because often I keep hearing people pop up in the chat and they keep saying that Casanova is going to be a witness. Casanova is not going to be a witness in here. I need for the people who support the channel, when the people come in and say erroneous things, can you please voice over them? Because at this point, I don't want to somebody to think, you know, the people that come in here and they're clowns, to think that that's any kind of narrative that we're trying to put out there. Because often what people do is they'll come onto your page and they'll say things like they're supporters of you, but at the same time, they're just saying like wild, insane, different theories because they want you to theorize with them, even if you're not. I'm not theorizing anything. I'm just here to discuss what's actually happening in court, and we're trying to do it in the most in the way that is most possible, not to denote innocence and or guilt to anyone, just so we can be clear. But there's going to be a lot of DNA evidence that we're going to be speaking about. Apparently, Casanova's DNA was acquired in a certain specific manner. We're going to talk about that if I didn't already speak, if that wasn't what they disclosed the previous day. I can't remember if we disclosed that yesterday or today. But there will be no interview of Casanova, just so we can be clear, so everybody could stop thinking that there's going to be a Casanova interview. The way in which it was spoken about, it's led to believe that it's not possible to have a Casanova interview. That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation for other people to have. I don't know how to grasp that, but apparently a Casanova interview isn't possible. I mean, a Casanova being on the witness stand isn't possible at this point. Allegedly, there is video of TAXSTONE, of Casanova outside of the room when it happened. I think that there was somebody trying to, I don't want to say too much because I want y'all to pull up tonight, but there was a really good back and forth that the prosecution and the defense had before the jury was brought into the room. We're going to discuss that. I'm going to go into that as much as I feel comfortable going into that. We're going to discuss that. There was a real good back and forth argument. Some really good arguments was made on both sides in order some evidence was going to be allowed or not allowed. I think the judge made a great point in why he decided to make his decision on whether the evidence is going to be allowed or not allowed. But then also I found out that there is a statute that exists currently, that there are some people that actually want to overturn the statute. And this statute basically is what allows for let me just make sure I say the term appropriately. Excited utterances. There's a statute about excited utterances that there are lawyers that actually, I believe, people in the legal field that want these removed, apparently. I don't know. I might do my own research on that and see how that's moving. I might do my own research on that. How you doing? It's okay. You can, yeah, it's okay. Both of y'all can get in the photo if y'all want. Wave. I don't think it's okay. Enjoy your day. So, excited utterances, apparently. So I might do my own research on that. I find that actually pretty interesting when I was hearing the back and forth that the defense and the prosecution was having, because there are a lot of people currently in jail right now because of the use of excited utterances. And I'm also pretty sure that there's people that did, when this was not allowed to be used in court, for whatever the reason might be, there's people who are probably not have been found guilty because of the inability to use excited utterances. So I'm probably going to look into that a little bit more myself, because I just find it to be something that's interesting, just so we can be clear. Also, I want to clear up something else. Casanova's phone allegedly was not the one that was tapped. The phone that was actually tapped was the Malcolm's phone. His phone was tapped, and the excited utterance was had over his phone when Casanova called him to speak about what had happened in Irving Plaza. When Casanova called to speak about everything that happened at Irving Plaza, that's who the wiretap phone was actually wiretapped. It was Malcolm's, just so we can be clear. At one point or another, Casanova was actually a suspect, just so we could also be clear. At one point or another, Casanova was actually a suspect. But I'll tell you one thing about the DNA evidence real quick. Casanova's DNA was not, as far as I can tell, they were saying that his DNA was not found on a gun. So anybody, I just wanted to throw that out there. It's important, even though you don't know why it's important. It's important, even though you don't know why it's important. So apparently Casanova's DNA was not found on a gun. That's important, even though you don't know why it's important. We'll discuss it later on tonight. So basically, the reason why the excited utterances are up for question is because there is a fear that the person that's doing the excited utterance might be fabricating what they're saying. There's a fear of that they might be fabricating, trying to, how people be talking and they try to make stuff seem like more than what it is. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a fear that they might be that's what it is. The excited utterance might be a fabrication. And there's also a fear that the individual doing the excited utterance might be in an emotional state. So what happens is they have to go through the judge listens to it, and then the judge ascertains, or he makes the decision on whether the jury could hear the excited utterance. And not for nothing, the way the judge handled it was A1. I mean, I'm not saying whether it should be allowed or not, but his logical reason for why he is going to allow for it or not allow for it to be allowed, it makes 100% perfectly good sense to me. Whether I agree with it or not, it makes good sense to me. That's all I can say. As far as I can say more, we're going to speak about it later on tonight, and I'm going to tell you what the excited utterance is. And when I tell you what that is, I expect for them to play it in court at some point. When I tell you what the excited utterance is, I'm going to wait for them. I might wait for them to actually, for it to show up in court. I mean, I just so we can be clear. I mean, the attorneys know what it is. The witness, the suspect, obviously, or the person that's on trial, the accused at this point, they obviously know what it is. I guess I'll go the rest of the day to decide whether I'm going to tell y'all exactly what it is. I'm not 100% sure. What up, Young Earl? What up, Your Opinion? What up, Bobby? So it's a lot of stuff that happened already so far this afternoon. I still gotta eat my lunch and shit. I forgot what time he said to be back. So anyway, in any regard, there's a lot of DNA evidence. I'm gonna be explaining the DNA evidence as best as I can. I actually found it interesting. What up, SC? I found it interesting. But I guess because the people that was on the stand were teaching really well when they was explaining what it was. So I found it interesting. I'm guessing that there's tense moments. I think that they think I might be moving around a lot because, I keep telling you my neck is messed up. So I keep like moving, and I think I'm moving at the wrong time. Y'all know my neck is messed up. So in any regard. So I find that a lot of the DNA evidence I found when they was explaining that, I found it extremely interesting. Shout out to Charlie Champion. I found it extremely interesting when they was talking about the DNA evidence. So I was specifically in tune on that. I'm going to be able to explain, I'm going to try to explain that the best that I can tonight. Once again, what we also have to understand is that this is the prosecution's case being put on right now. So you really can't expect for the defense to have but so much going on. This is the prosecution's case that's currently being put on, just so we can be clear. So for anybody that's like, well, the defense isn't doing anything, well, they're not calling any witnesses currently. They're reacting. They're not acting. It's all reflexive for them. How do you say, the prosecution is putting on their case and everything they're doing is reflexive. So I think that we have to also understand that. when we're talking about what the defense is or isn't doing, just so we can be clear. What else could I speak on right now that I feel comfortable talking about? There's still a witness on the stand, so I don't really want to tell y'all what that witness spoke on, but so much into the defense gets an opportunity. Pardon me. Until the defense team gets an opportunity to talk to them, so I don't really want to tell you too much what they said. But their testimony has been intriguing, at the very least. Also, this is all part of, this is all stuff I want to talk about tonight, to be honest with you. But, is there any questions, by the way? Anybody got any questions? Did I say what's up, Charlie? How you doing? What up, Brooklyn NASDAQ? Okay, so this is one thing that I will say, and this is something that we've been talking about a lot when we have these individuals talk about how people is rats and snitches. I just want to be clear on something. In our culture now, what up, Nick the Slick? In our culture now, for some weird reason, even when they say somebody's lying, they still call them a rat or a snitch. When in reality, if somebody is lying, they're just lying. They're not a rat and or a snitch. You understand? That don't make sense. So that kind of came up in court. I don't want to tell you how, but that kind of came up in court. So I've been trying to tell people for the longest, that we should stop doing that. Like, delineate the difference between when you believe or when you're trying to say that somebody is lying and when you believe somebody is actually telling on you. And also in regards to that, something that I personally just assume that people stop doing is stop calling people snitches and stop calling people rats until they've actually taken a stand, until they've actually put in some kind of testimony. Stop calling people rats, stop calling people snitches. That doesn't necessarily help your situation, especially because sometimes what people mean is that the person's a liar. So make sure that you delineate the difference when you're speaking about these things on whether a person is a liar or whether a person is actually talking about a factual situation. And this is stuff that we've talked about on this program for like the last 3 or 4 years. We've been talking about that on this channel. So we'll speak about that a little bit later. Allegedly, there is a witness. I'm not even sure which side is trying to call the witness, but apparently there's a witness that kind of went the way that disappeared. They went Jason Bourne on us. I don't know what to tell you. Apparently, I'm not sure who wants to call the witness, so I'm also not going to tell y'all who the witness is. I'm not going to say who the witness's name is. But apparently there's a witness that they're trying to get a hold of. Apparently there's a witness that they're trying to get a hold of. I'm not sure if the prosecution is trying to call the witness or if the defense is trying to call the witness, to be honest with you. I know what it sounded like to me, but I don't want to say one thing one way or the other because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it a stack. I don't want to say it one way or the other. But apparently there's either a witness that the prosecution and or the defense want to call. I'm not sure. But I do know that there is evidence that if this specific person does show up to testify, that there is evidence that is allegedly one of the sides have that counteracts whatever their testimony is. So there's a certain bit of evidence that isn't even going to be put into the trial unless this witness shows up to testify, allegedly. We're going to see what happens. I have no idea. They're going to wait to see if the witness testifies before they decide to use this particular piece of information. I got it marked down as the prosecution, apparently, is the ones that want to wait until, just so we can be clear. But there is a lot of conversation I was having before the jury came in. That's actually pretty interesting. There's also an audio phone call. I don't really want to tell y'all what the audio phone call was. I don't even at this point want to tell y'all who the audio phone call was of, to be honest with you. To be honest with you. Shout out to Arta D Glass. Shout out to Ganju. Salute. You already know what it is. But I am going to say this. When they were having the discussion on when to allow the excited utterance in, I think the judge, well, I just want to mention this one more time. Shout out to Judge Clott. I think he did a great job on pushing back and erring in the favor of caution to make sure that the accused, TAXSTONE's rights were preserved. I think the way in which he handled that specifically, he's been handling everything great, by the way, but the way he handled that specifically, it seemed like he was extremely, he wanted to make sure that TAXSTONE's rights were preserved, that his rights wasn't stepped on at all by the law. They are going to allow the excited utterance in, but the explanation that he gave was extraordinary. I think it was great. He actually made sure that he listened to it more than once so he could make a good decision on it. He listened to it more than once. We got 89 people here. Can we hit that like button and somebody put the Cash App in the chat? Just in case anybody is enjoying this information or appreciating this information and would like to show it with a monetary donation. So, just so we could be clear, his explanation on why he's actually going to allow it in was actually great. He took so much time and patience. He had them play the audio more than once. You can tell that it wasn't an easy decision for him to make. You could tell that he wanted to make sure that TAXSTONE's rights were not trampled on. And that's all you're looking for the judge to do. The judge's real job in the court is to make sure that the letter of the law is followed, that the witness or the people don't have a situation where everybody is represented appropriately, where the accused is represented appropriately and his rights aren't trampled on, and the people's is represented appropriately and their rights aren't trampled on. And I think he's just doing an excellent job. I don't know what else to say. I wish I could say more, especially pertaining to this particular subject matter, but I'm going to be careful because at the end of the day, I don't know if there's people from the jury to this. I don't think people from the jury should be looking at media at all. I think that just generally speaking, like when you're on jury, I don't think you should be looking at any media, like any news, even if it pertains to a different case, even if it has something to do with a different story. I don't think they should be looking at any of it at all. This is just my opinion. I think that you should keep yourself as a blank slate, and the only information you allow to yourself to absorb comes directly from the prosecution and the defense, comes in from the judge's direction. That's my opinion. But I do understand that I have to be a little careful because there's no telling if there is a juror or a juror family member or whoever the case that might actually be searching the internet looking for more information on this, which they should not be doing. There's people's lives that are in the balance. There's people that they believe that justice will be done if this particular individual is found guilty. There's people that love this particular individual and they believe that justice will be done if he's found innocent. So I think that there's a higher call in here than anything else, especially for the jurors, to make sure that they get it right. So I don't think that jurists should be looking at any media whatsoever. Nevertheless, media that deals directly with the case in which they're residing over or residing or whatever, being a juror. With that being said, so I just wanted to say that. But Casanova's name has come up again. We will be speaking about Casanova tonight. Absolutely. Somebody sent me something, right? I just want to be clear on something. Somebody sent me something that was extremely curious. I don't know if I'm gonna tell y'all about it right now. I told them they had to send me a screenshot because I didn't believe the thing that they sent me. Just so we could be clear. But this morning, like, you don't never know when people send you intel. Like, they might be sending you something because they hate somebody, not because they're trying to be helpful. So you don't never know when somebody sends you intel. I just want to say that. But somebody sent me something today. I told them, can they send a screenshot? But they sent me something, and they sent me some information, I guess, to go look it up myself. I haven't had the opportunity to look it up, just so we can be clear. So I don't, hold on, they just sent me, hold on. Whew. I'm going to, I don't know what to say. What time we got? I don't know what to say. I asked them to send me screenshots. They sent me the website for me to go check myself. So I'll go check the websites at one point or another, and depending on what I find out is dependent and if it actually. But I just want to be clear about something. The prosecution said that getting Casanova to testify is not a possibility, apparently. That's not a possibility. I just want to say that. The defense, pardon me, the defense said that getting Casanova to testify is not a possibility. I don't understand why. I guess you could put two and two together yourself, but I'll do a little bit of research on that, I guess. But allegedly, just so we can be clear, allegedly, no, not even allegedly, the defense literally said this, that getting Casanova to testify is not a possibility. And that's why they did not want to allow his excited utterance. That's why, I'm just going to say, getting Casanova to testify is not an option. The defense said that. That's on the record. It's on the record, just so we can be clear. Getting Casanova to testify is not an option because they cannot cross-examine him. So they kind of don't want anything that he could have said to be brought into the trial because they don't have the ability to cross-examine what he said, which sounds pretty fair to me. I don't know, but I guess that is dependent on Casanova's situation and why he can't actually testify. I guess that's dependent on that. We got 108 people here. Can we hit that like button if you don't mind? Nobody dropped the Cash App in the chat yet. What up, WYP Media? This is good afternoon, my guys. Salute to you. Salute to everybody. I hope everybody is having a beautiful day. I hope everybody is out there trying to live the Most High's word, doing all the things that we're supposed to be doing in order to represent the Most High in the best possible way, shape, form, and fashion that we could do individually as a person. So I hope we're all out there trying to do that. I was just slamming all his food down. Like, he didn't even want that shit. He was just like, this burger. I was like, what the hell, fam? So I'm gonna eat my lunch and then I'm gonna get back into the courtroom. But that's all I got for right now. We're probably gonna go live early today. We're gonna probably go live early today as soon as I get out of here and get back to the lab. I don't think I'm gonna. I usually sit around and eat dinner first, but I think we're gonna go live early today. Okay. Are those the workers? They driving around like they're a gang, yo. They're like the Uber Eats guys is all like just all drove up the street like they a whole gang. What up to the Blake check? He said Casanova must have said something very damaging to the informant on that call. I heard the call. I don't know when they're gonna actually play it in court. And at the same time, I don't know how much they should take. She got a nice one. I don't know how much the jury should take it into consideration. I don't know. I mean, I don't think everything that somebody says is proof of anything. You understand? So I don't know how much the jury should take it into consideration. I know that everything that's said on the stand isn't fact, by the way. The only thing that the jury could take, only opinions or whatever the juries could take as fact, is when somebody is recognized as an expert witness. Then the jury can take what they say in regards to their expert testimony as, factual evidence, just so we can be clear. That, not everything that's said on the stand is factual evidence. People can get on the stand and lie. It happens. You understand? Remember Kato Kalin? I mean, shout out to that guy. But people could get on the stand and lie. So I think that we need to take that into consideration, that not every single thing that somebody says, that doesn't make it a fact, that doesn't make it proof of anything. You know what I'm saying? People could say whatever they want to say. And so I think that that's the fear with an excited utterance. I think that that's the fear. You understand? But I think that the judge handled it, and then the way he explained why he's actually going to allow it to be into testimony. He listened to it twice, and I'm not going to lie, the first time I listened to it, I couldn't actually grasp everything that was being said, so I'm very happy he played it twice. But the first time I listened to it, it's definitely something you have to listen to more than once, and the judge listened to it more than once, so, I'm not speaking on whether anybody is going to get time at all. We're going to wait until the jury comes back with their verdict. I am not here to determine on whether I think somebody is going to be found guilty and or innocent. That's 1, 2. The defense hasn't even had time to put on their case. The only thing we've heard so far is the prosecution's case, and the defense team is just responding back reflexively to what the prosecution is doing. So I don't think it's responsible for me to say whether I believe somebody is guilty and or innocent. I don't think that's responsible. I think that anyone speaking on this matter that's like, yo, he's innocent, or yo, man, I think that guy, he got all of the guilt, I think that you're just wrong if you do that. I think that you allow for the jury to do their job. I'm pretty sure the jury, they also get the opportunity to go over the transcripts over and over and over and over and over again. The jury gets the opportunity to go over all the evidence over and over and over and over again. So I am not in a better position to be able to ascertain guilt or innocence than the jury. with all due respect. So it's not, I'm not doing that. I don't know how strong the prosecution's case is. The prosecution has to tell you how strong their case is. Or how strong they believe it to be. I can't ascertain that. I think they're doing their job, and I think the defense team is doing their job. Okay, so I don't care how much you try to get me to say somebody is guilty and or somebody is innocent, or I think somebody is going to be found guilty, or I think somebody is going to be found innocent. I don't care how you try to, I don't care how you try to dress it up. I am not answering those questions. You're wasting your time. I'm not going to kick you for keep asking the questions. You can stay in here to keep asking those questions. But I'm not answering those questions. That's not my job. I'm not in there trying to figure out if anybody is guilty or if anybody is innocent. Thank you. I'm just being impartial and delivering the information. Appreciate you, brother OTG. I will tell y'all this. For all of y'all out there with guns thinking about committing gun violence, just don't do it. I will say that. Whether he's found guilty or innocent or whatever the hell happens in this case, I'm telling you, you do not want to commit gun violence in New York City. You don't. I'm telling you right now. You know what you could do instead of commit gun violence? You could go figure out a way to help your neighbor. How about that? Instead of when you get all angry and you're like, oh, shucks, I want to go commit some gun violence. Instead, you could figure out a way to go be a benefit to society. Do that. Take all of that energy that you wanted to put into committing gun violence and transform that into the energy to go be helpful. Go do that. I don't want to talk about how strong and or weak a case is. I'm giving you the information. You could decide on your own. People are just trying so hard to get me to say one thing one way or the other. I'm not gonna, because I'm not in there trying to figure out if he's innocent. I'm not in there trying to figure out if he's guilty. I'm not at all. Those already been things I'm thinking about. Why does this guy look like Taika Waititi? He do, don't he?
Just a little bit, yeah. He should be doing what we do in the shadows right now.
Look like Taika Waititi out here. Brother OTG says that's smart because a lot of people messed up on that Tory Lanez trial. When I'm not in the actual courtroom, I'm going to talk however I want to talk because I'm not looking at the actual evidence. But when those people, and I want to say this, and I'm not hating on them, I'm not mad at them, but when those people went to go cover the case, the Tory Lanez case, that was some of the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in my life. And one of those guys was a lawyer and should know better. That was one of the most unprofessional things I've seen in my life. Coming out of the courtroom, laughing. This man is on trial for his life. They laughing, making jokes, all this. I make jokes, but I don't make jokes at the expense of the actual person that's on trial. We're not doing that. That was terrible. It was terrible. They sent some people to go do my job, and they failed. That's it, and that's all. There's nobody that I do this. Don't nobody else do this. There's nobody else in America that does this. There's people that try, they fail. I do this. Jack Frost, BBN community, salute to y'all. We do this. Other people don't do this. They try. You seen them try. One of them was a whole lawyer. Tell me where the lie at. One of them was a whole lawyer. You don't see me going on Instagram talking about, yo, I'm gonna do an Instagram live. Y'all gotta get in court. No, we YouTube. Boom, we doing it. If my channel is monetized or not, this is what we do. Copy? This is why people mad. This is why people upset. This is why people pissed off at me. All right? I'm here to do my job. That's it. I appreciate it when all of you guys pull up with the showing support, whether it's monetary, especially the monetary support, whatever it's monetary, whether it's just hitting the like button, whether it's just watching a video 2 or 3 times so the views go up, whether it's sharing the video so other people could see it so the views go up, whatever it is, I appreciate all of that. But this is what we do. Copy? You see, other people tried to do this, they can. Shout out to them, though. That's not hate. Anyway, I got to eat my sandwich, and then I got to get to actual back to court, because I already know somebody going to steal my seat. I like my seat because I can see the defense and the prosecution. Both. And I can see the jury, and I can see the judge. And I can see the court. Anyway, so I like the seat that I take. I always try to find the best seat for me. If I can't get that seat, there's one other seat that's actually a great seat but that's really far back, and I think I might need glasses in my old age. I think I look at too many of these. I got to change the resolution on my phone. I think I'd be staring at my phone too much. So my eyes is straining as of late. But I got some like weird shit going on with my biology, with my physiology, and my eyes just mess up sometimes, and then they get corrected. So I'm going to change the resolution on the phone, put the blue tint. That helps with the eyes for everybody that don't know. And then hopefully my vision, goes back to what it used to be. In any regard, we got 99 people in here. Could y'all please hit that like button before you walk out the door? Let's get the views up on this video. I need your guys' help by hitting the like button. With that being said, we're going to pull up after the court. And I get back to the lab. We're going to go live again. I love y'all. Please go out there and do some positive shit in the world. We need more good people. I promise. There's nothing wrong with being a good person. We need more good people in the world. Be that good person. Be the change you want to see in the world. With that being said, I'm out. Love y'all.